Good morning. This is the Board of Appeals, Town of Hempstead, May 15th, 2024, 9:30 meeting. Will everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Madam Chair, do you have any opening remarks?
Yeah, briefly. Actually, I don't see a lot of familiar faces. For those of you who have appeared before this board before, you know how it operates. For those of you who haven't, Secretary, Mr. Owens, the board will call the cases as they're called. The applicant will come up, tell the board about the case, and answer any questions the board may have. If there's anyone here who's interested in a case who's not the applicant, he will come up at the same time that the case is called. In this courtroom, we don't seem to have seating, so if you just want to sit here in the front, and then once the applicant is finished, we'll have you come up, tell us what you want us to know. In the event you have a question for an expert who's brought in by the applicant, we'll have to figure out the logistics as we go, since usually we have two tables, but we don't here. The last thing is make sure that you've signed in on the case you're here for. And lastly, if you're here on a case, pardon me, the allergies. If you're here on a case and you're not the applicant, if you would, Patrick, do you want them to stand all at once when the case is called to be sworn in, or do you want to swear them as they come up? The second, swear them. So if there's a case called that you're here on and you're not the applicant, just stand when Mr. Owens swears in everyone who wishes to be heard on that case. All right, I think that's it. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask or come up and ask Mr. Owens if it's during the proceeding. Go ahead, Patrick.
Do not have any applications for adjournment this morning. First, we'll start with case 295-24, Wantaw, Delight, Long Island, LLC, Wendy's. Renewal of grant to maintain illuminated menu board in conjunction with drive-through window, also known as 1350 Wantaw Avenue.
Joseph Amato, 9 Gale Drive, Lakefront, Conklin, New York, 11779.
Good morning. You're here for the renewal of the grant to maintain the sign. This is a Wendy's in Wantaw, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. The premises were inspected by the building department on February 20th, 2024, and found to be in compliance with all conditions previously imposed. Is there anything else you wish to add?
No.
Do I have any other questions from the board? And if not, do I have a motion?
I move the hearing is placed on the decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you will be notified.
Or a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Next, we have case 296-24, West Hempstead, Delight, Long Island, LLC, Wendy's, number 2481. Renewal of grant to maintain one double-faced illuminated detached ground sign, overall size 65 square feet per face, overall height 18 feet, setback 5 feet from Hempstead Turnpike, also known as 65 Hempstead Turnpike. Sir, I have you sworn in from earlier, just your name and address for the record.
Joseph Amato, 9 Gale Drive, Lakefront, Conklin, New York, 11779.
Good morning again.
What again? Hope you feel better.
So this also is a case about Wendy's sign. This one's located in West Hempstead, like the prior one. The building department inspected the sign on 2/20 of 2024 and found the applicant to be in compliance with all previously imposed conditions. Is there anything else you wish to add? Okay, do I have any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move the hearing be closed. The case placed on the decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you'll be notified.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Have a nice day.
You have the next case?
It's also a Wendy's sign.
Oh.
Okay.
Next, we have case 297-24, Seaford, Delight, Long Island, LLC, Wendy's, number 10846. The renewal of grant to maintain one double-faced illuminated sign attached to detached pylon structure, overall size 85 square feet, 42.5 square feet per face, Clearance 4 foot 5 inches from grade to bottom of sign, also known as 3882 Sunrise Highway. Swear affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth. State your name and address for the record.
Kathy Boucher, 267 First Avenue, Massapequa Park, New York.
Good morning. You also are here for a Wendy's sign. This one located in Seaford. This one also inspected on February 20th of 2024 by the building department and found to be in compliance with all previously imposed conditions. Is there anything else you wish to add? Or do I have any questions from the board, or do I have a motion?
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on the decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you will be notified.
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Have a nice day.
Thank you so much.
Next we have case 29824 Elmont Giuseppe Appisando. Renewal of grant to maintain two-family dwelling, also known as 48 Clement Avenue.
That's you? Come on up. Both of them. Keep them translate. That's your initiative. Good morning. Go ahead and give us your name and address for the record so it's in the transcript.
It's 48 Clement Avenue, Elmont, New York, 11003.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I know you're here to renew a prior grant to maintain a two-family residence. I assume one of the conditions was that it be owner-occupied in one of the units. Let me just check. Yes. And I also know that the building department inspected the premises on February 21st of 2024 and found you to be in compliance with all the previously imposed conditions. That means to say you've been doing what you're supposed to do. So, do you have anything else you wish to add? Okay. And do I have any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on the decision calendar. When the board makes its decision, we'll send you a letter.
Oh, you send it by
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Not the permit. The letter telling you that you can go to the building department and get your permit.
Your renewal.
Oh, I can get it now too.
No,
No.
later. Right?
Pew.
You'll get a letter from us in the mail saying that we acted.
Dopo.
Where you notarize me?
Yes.
Sì.
Yes.
Sì. Okay. Un momento. Do I have any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I did that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Next we have case 29924 near Bethpage, George Whitting. Renewal of grant to maintain a 6-foot-high fenced forward dwelling on Hicksville Road, which may substantially obstruct line of sight, also known as 280 Hicksville Road. There is an application for an appearance waiver on this application.
All right. This case having come before the board, no one having signed in opposition or interested in the matter, and it being a case that is appropriate for an appearance waiver, the board will grant the appearance waiver and proceed without the applicant present. This case is a case for the renewal of a grant to maintain a two-family residence. The building department inspected the premises on March 4th, 2024, and found the applicant to be in compliance with all previously imposed conditions. Do I have a motion from the board?
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on the decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, we will notify the applicant.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next we have cases 324 through 30124. Merrick, Ellen Prozac. Variance rear yard construct 2-story addition attached dwelling with use variance for two-family dwelling. use variance to convert one-family dwelling into non-permitted two-family dwelling, also known as 82 Alfred Road East.
Yeah. Go ahead and give your appearance, Ms. Love. And you guys give your appearances, and I'll find out. We got a couple more people signed in.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Ashley Lowe from Archampton Architects. Our office is located at 1563 Belmar Avenue in Belmar, New York. Today, representing for our clients, John and Ellen Prozac, who are the owners and occupants of the subject property located at 82 Alfred Road East in Merrick, New York.
Thank you. Go ahead and make your appearance.
Hello, I'm Ellen Prozac, and I reside at 82 Alfred Road East, Merrick, New York, 11566. My husband.
John Prozac, residing at 82 Alfred Road East, Merrick.
Okay, Ms. Lowe. First of all, I have two other people signed in, Kenneth Boyd and Michael, I think it's Jor. And are you an expert in the case, or? Okay, and you, sir? Are you Michael Dorr? Okay, so you just must have signed in on the wrong case, right? Okay, hold on.
He's one of my clients. He just misunderstood. He shouldn't have signed in on that sheet.
Oh, 1 second. So let me just be clear. You're not here on this case. All right, so let's have him cross off an initial that he's not here on this case. Ms. Lowe, it appears that you're here for a use variance.
A use variance and a rear setback.
Yeah, the rear yard setback I get. But the use variance, do you have any experts here? I mean, usually it's the most difficult variance to prove. You're comfortable proceeding? Okay.
We've spoken with, members of the BCI beforehand. So.
Okay, you're comfortable.
We're here today for an application for a proposed two-story addition and an application for a conditional family use. The application for the addition was filed under tracking number 22-10372. The addition does not meet the rear yard setback requirement of 25 feet. Proposed rear yard setback of 11.47 feet, for which we require relief of 13.53 feet. This application was also denied for being designed as a two-family dwelling and needing to get a use variance for the two-family, along with the application filed under 22-10374, which was an application for a conditional two-family use and was also denied for the same thing. Mr. and Mrs. Prozac have lived in Merrick in this home for the past 30 years and have designed this addition and requested this use for their son, Michael, who is 28 years old and has been diagnosed with developmental disabilities. He has been under the care of Dr. Angela who has written us a letter that I would like to submit to the board.
Okay, if it's possible, Christine, we'll accept it in evidence, but I just don't think, is there a way that we do so, but we don't make it a public sort of file? I don't think it's, I just don't know that the medical.
It's okay.
Okay, let's do it that way. Go ahead, Ms. Lowe.
this letter, Dr. S. explains that Michael has been diagnosed with autism, anxiety, along with a language processing disorder. Ultimately, while Michael desires independence, he has difficulty processing danger and being aware of other people's intentions, so it is critical that he is in a secure environment. This addition and filing for conditional two-family use allows for Michael to have the independence that he deserves at his age and desires, but also so that he can continue to develop his independence in a secure and familiar environment. We are respectfully requesting the granting of this conditional two-family use so that Michael will always have access to his space, but remains under the supervision and support of his parents, family, and caregivers. Mr. and Mrs. Prozac have met with many of their neighbors who have provided letters of support for the variances we are here for today, and I would like to submit 12 letters to the board. I also have a radius map which shows, which corresponds with the...
We'll accept that also.
Also, their neighbor, Mr. Ken Boyd, is here in support of the variance, and he too provided a letter of support. We have several homes near the subject properties, such as 98 Alfred Road East, 1 Willow Avenue, which is next to 86 Alfred Road East, and 26 Alfred Road West, which have similar setbacks, and the homes are configured similarly as well. I have photos of those as well to submit to the board.
We'll accept those in evidence also. Who took the photos, Ms. Lowe? Do they fairly and accurately represent what they purport to represent? They're not in any way altered, etc. Thank you. Thank you.
Additionally, we also wanted to present Michael's life plan, which has been configured by his caregivers as well for what he needs, and the state regulations that state Michael will get a subsidy if it is a separate legal dwelling, which is why we are requesting it be a legal two-family.
Okay, back up. So, because one of my questions was going to be, as you know, the hallmark of a second unit is a kitchen, and given the constraints that you've mentioned, or the difficulties, if you will, that the applicant's son faces, we've had these before, and oftentimes the second unit is for the same reasons as here, but instead of an entire kitchen, they have a microwave, or instead of a full stove in some cases, because in those cases the individual at issue can't really use a full stove, for example, unsupervised. So I was going to ask you about the second kitchen here and why it was necessary, because that's obviously sometimes not necessary to have a separate space, but I think you've answered me now in describing that pursuant to the state requirements, if it's not properly considered a separate unit, then the funding for his care will not be as plentiful, for lack of a better term. Is that the reason?
I have a copy of the guidelines and the checklist from the Office of Disability, and it says it has to be a separate legal dwelling, and it has to have a kitchen. It says there has to be enough range, or a microwave can be substituted for this.
Okay.
The individual agrees, but they want a kitchen, and they want it, the state.
I understand.
In order to qualify for the housing.
We'll accept those guidelines in evidence.
The administrative memo that the guideline comes out of.
We'll accept that also.
Have you considered a mother-daughter residence which allows you to have a second kitchen and have a sibling?
I don't know that that would be considered a second dwelling. That's to give all the appearances. I don't need that for the state code.
It's also a use variance.
I understand. Let me ask you, I'm sorry.
Did you answer that question?
We did talk to the previous town attorney before Mr. Nancy was here, and he had said that he didn't believe that a mother-daughter use would qualify.
Would qualify as what? I'm sorry.
It wouldn't qualify for the subsidy. It needs to be considered.
Well, why don't you find out from whoever's giving you the subsidy, because we're not, whomever, the town of Hempstead is not the authority as to whether or not it would qualify. You're asking for a use variance, and that's a major reach. This is a single-family dwelling that has a certificate of occupancy and a residence B zone as a single-family dwelling. And the code says if you cannot use it as a single-family dwelling, you need a use variance. In your case, you can use it as a single-family dwelling. Our hands are kind of tied. Although we recognize the disability, I would strongly suggest, in my opinion, that perhaps you take an adjournment and consult with the state agencies or the federal agencies, whomever, and ask them if they would allow a mother-daughter residence as a second kitchen, as an independent unit for your son to live in.
Mr. Eldred, if I'm
Right ahead.
all of that is fine, but I don't really think it makes a lot of sense for us to adjourn it. I'd rather hear it. You can hold it on reserve while they do that. She already had indicated she's familiar with the standard of proof required and is comfortable going forward right now. So I'd rather just hear it. She said, but in terms of our activities here, we can hear the case. Okay. So,
I can respond.
okay, please. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I actually, we have communicated with the state agency. One of the problems is that the unit does not yet exist. So they are not going to give us any kind of advisory opinion or any commitment that it will be covered. But there's a couple of things with the mother-daughter. One of the things practically for us and for our son is that, for immediate family, is that once my husband and I have passed away, and this is the main worry, I guess, for every mom and dad with a son in this position, is that what will happen when we die. So we're trying to be proactive and create this space which can get the subsidy, and to have it as a two-family, not as a mother-daughter, because if it's a mother-daughter or immediate family and there's no more mother-daughter, things that we've set up for him now. So, he has no siblings, right? And he does have a stepsister, but she lives in Tarrytown, and we don't. Hopefully, will be a good long time before we pass away. But we really can't commit her to that. That's not the commitment that she's made, and that's one practical problem for Mike.
Okay, may I just say, so the argument you've now unfortunately, that may be for another time. As I understood it initially, the issue right now is, and I was going to ask you when we got a chance, if maybe Ms. Lowe, so that I can better understand this, what about it is conditional? What provisions did you and or the building department, or does the law lay out as to what makes it a conditional versus a standard two-family with conditions? Do you understand? Like, is this, is it conditional that it reverts back when he no longer lives there? I mean, just give me some idea. And where do I find these conditions that are relevant to a conditional two-family request? Because we don't see a lot of conditional two-family requests.
So yes, it was when I had originally spoken with Mr. Bogle, which Ms. Prozac and I had spoken with him at length in regard to this. He had suggested that one of the conditions be that when Michael was when he was no longer alive, then obviously the two-family would revert back to a single one-family dwelling, and also that there be some sort of condition in the, when it's granted, if it is granted, with conditions stating that in the event of Mr. and Mrs. Prozac's passing, it would go into a trust so that Michael would be able to retain the residence afterwards, which was one of our
I don't think the condition would be if he's no longer around, rather than if he wouldn't be appropriate. Again, I don't know that the argument that we want him to have a rental later is that's a whole other ballgame, to be perfectly honest. I get the issue that And I do agree, I doubt it would be considered a second living unit, a separate dwelling, if it were a mother-daughter, because by definition, that gives all the appearances. It has a second kitchen, but it has nothing else that a two-family has.
Yeah, it doesn't have.
Characteristically, anyway. So, let's see, so you said that you cannot get any written advisory opinion or comment about the mother-daughter not qualifying as that. How about the town, when you spoke to the town? See, I happen to think they've already spoken to the state. If it's not a single dwelling, it doesn't satisfy the condition. When you spoke to the town, did anyone, I know you spoke to Mr. Bogle, what all were you told about from the town that, because I know kind of how the law works, the state will take the characterization of the town.
Yes.
So if the state says it has to be a separate unit, dwelling unit, and the town says, we don't consider this a separate dwelling unit, the state's going to say, we don't characterize it. This is our rule. So what if, have you spoken to anyone at the town who's told you that how the town considers a mother-daughter and whether or not that the town believes that is a separate dwelling unit?
It's now with you, the administrative memo that the state has issued on this housing subsidy subject, and it states that it's what the jurisdiction considers a separate legal dwelling. I'm sorry, I don't know where it went, but I can point it out
No, I
to you
understand.
where it is. Yeah. So that's what the state goes by. It goes by whether you all, the town, consider it to be a separate legal dwelling. And so.
Okay. Okay, is there anything else?
I answered the question, I'm sorry. I hope
Yes.
so. Okay, thank you.
It's rather intuitive anyway, but is there anything else, Ms. Lowe, you or your clients would wish to add?
Can I please add, because I know that Mr. Pellegrini mentioned also it is a residential area. It does back right onto Merrick Avenue where there are mixed use, there's dentist office, chiropractors and all that, and they have additions next to them. It's also right next to the middle school, right down the block. It's sort of it's a dead end cul-de-sac, but it's several blocks. So and that's one of the reasons why my son has been able to exist in this part of the community, is it is walkable. It is very much near businesses and, things going on in town. It's not really
Your home is on a
setting,
cul-de-sac?
Pardon?
Your home is on a cul-de-sac?
I don't know the definition of a cul-de-sac, but it ends at a dead end on where the Merrick Avenue Middle School is, and then that's Alfred Road.
Hold on. Do we have the right radius map?
Am I wrong? I don't know if that's called a cul-de-sac.
That goes through. Are you a corner property? With one side on Alfred Road and one on Willow Avenue?
That's our property.
Oh, it doesn't look like, it looks like there's one side that's a dead end, but it's a block away.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
block away.
your street's a through street. Not that I think it matters, but.
Yeah, it's a block away. I
Make
didn't
sure.
mean to be, unclear. Our street, Alfred Road East, ends at this middle school, and then Alfred Road West ends at the middle school. So there's two gates into the middle school from our part of
Alfred
town.
Road East.
And then this is west over here.
Okay. Is there anything else anyone wish to add? So where's my sign-in sheet? The other gentleman who was here. No. So does anyone at the table wish to speak any further at this moment? Okay, I'll give you.
I just want to say that it's been impossible, I'd say, with the housing market the way it is, and also with the state, there are not a lot of group homes, and he is on a list. He has been for many, many years on a list, but the way the list works is that they assign him a need based on, on their criteria, and he's the lowest priority of need, and he's not gotten called up. In fact, the people that are able to get group homes are those whose parents are gone, or they're at risk of homelessness, and so this is the situation that we've been facing. So We want him to be a part of the community. We don't want him to be in an institution.
I
He
understand.
doesn't deserve to be in an institution. He is quite able in a lot of ways to help himself out. And so we're trying to avoid that. And we're hoping that the community will continue to accept him that way. Appreciate it.
Okay. Mr. Boyd, did you want to speak? All right. Have you already been sworn in with the group?
I was not.
Oh.
My name is Kenneth Boyd, and I live at 79 Alfred Road East in Merrick.
Good morning, Mr. Boyd.
Good morning. I've had the privilege of knowing the Prozacks. My wife and I moved in across the street in 2001 for 22 years. Michael, their son, went to school with my son, Andrew. You know, when I got the notice about this variance application, even though I'm friendly with the Prozacks, my first interest was as a property owner that's invested in my house, and I still have a mortgage, and what was going to happen and how that might impact my wife and I looking at retirement and the value of our property. And I saw the plans, and to my mind, they're very tasteful. But I wanted to come here today because as neighbors and property owners, the Prozacks house, the way it's been maintained and how they've, used the property, they've been model residents. Their house is always impeccable. The yard's always clear. When we had hurricanes and one of their trees fell across the street, they were super proactive and stepped forward out of their own expense and took care of it. And I've envied their house and got siding similar to their house. So I've always, when I could afford it. So they are model members of the community, and they're respected by everybody in the neighborhood for decades. Again, walking with my wife in the neighborhood and in Merrick Woods in this town where I've lived for 2 decades, I see all kinds of ugly monstrosities that somehow get approved. And I looked at these plans, and I saw, and my wife, and saw how tasteful it was and how it wouldn't detract from the neighborhood. I don't know anything about real estate variance law, but Michael has been part of the community since we moved in, and friendly with my sons and friendly with me. And he's an exceptional young man with significant challenges. And when I look at Michael, he's part of my community. And he's lived there his whole life. And he's 28 now, and he needs help. And Ellen has just explained the situation we're in. This is the remedy for them. And he deserves to live in that house, and he deserves to have accommodations made so he can live with dignity and be the same type of member of the community as everybody else. There's never been an issue with that family in that house. So I wanted to share that. Thank you.
Mr. Boyd. Okay, Ms. Lowe, is there anything else you wish to add?
I just wanted to touch back on one thing. You asked if we had spoken with any members of the town. The planned examiner, before it was sent down to the Board of Zoning Appeals, was Joseph Camerata. We spoke with him at length about whether or not this should be filed as a mother-daughter or as a 2-family dwelling. And after going over what the state requires, and with, even though if it's not up for debate right now, with whether or not this will go into a trust for him after Mr. and Mrs. Prozac are no longer here, ultimately he felt that the 2-family dwelling best fit the description, and that he would consider it the 2-family. So this has been almost 2 years now of us going back and forth. We've consulted with a lot of people. As I said, we spoke to Mr. Bogle beforehand. I spoke to him many times, and so did Ms. Prozac. So ultimately, I think anyone here can understand the reason for going for a 2-family. Typically, I do not advise my clients to go for a 2-family. I know how difficult they are, and I know why the town doesn't like to grant them. But I think anyone can understand why a parent would want this for their child, so that they can, have some autonomy over their independence, but be able to still remain in a secure environment.
Yes. Ms. Lowe, could you submit to us, it doesn't have to be this moment, a list of the conditions that you're proposing for the conditional nature of it? And in that, it needs to be once he no longer lives there. And this is just for the board's consideration, but I'd like to have the conditions that you envision and your clients envision for the time
I can
being.
give those to Mr. Owens and Ms. Clancy.
Yes, please. Okay. Are there any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Aside from what Mrs. D'Amato just asked for, submission, I would truly like to feel better about myself to see something from the state. The state will not consider anything without. I need something, to feel comfortable up here going in your favor. I need something from the state saying that these plans that were submitted, if the Board of Appeals grants a two-family, the state will, or the feds, whomever it is, will allow funding for your son. Beyond, then go get it.
I haven't submitted the plans to them specifically.
Well, perhaps that would be a good, I did explain to you the limitations that this board has legally. And
I'm not sure I quite understand.
you have she'll show you New York State Town Law 267B, and it's a use variance, and she will show you what we're bound by as a use variance. We just can't,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
there has to be good reason.
There would be an accommodation for my son with a developmental disability, that would be a good reason.
There could be, but there are alternatives, and personally, I think an alternative would be a mother-daughter. You still haven't, I apologize, and I do recognize I'm very sympathetic toward your situation, I really am. However, help us help you, and by getting the state, looking at those plans, and hypothetically, if the board grants those plans, would you allow funding?
Yes, I have already, but I will do it again, if that's.
If you have anything else, Ms. Lowe, just submit it to us later, okay? Along with those conditions. Okay, so if there are no other questions from the board, do I have a motion?
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on a decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you will be notified.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Next, we have case 30224 near Bethpage, Rita Benani. A special exception to maintain second accessory structure, fire pit, and sitting wall exceeding horizontal maximum, also known as 54 Curtis Place. Name and address for the record.
Tina Pangallo, 549 Hempstead Turnpike, West Hempstead, New York, 11552.
Good morning,
Good
Ms.
morning,
Pangallo.
members of the board. I'm representing Michael Hyatt, who's the previous owner of 54 Curtis Place in Bethpage, and Retta Benini, the new owner. The property is located on the west side of Curtis Place, 224.4 feet north of Corona Drive in the LPRD district. We're requesting a special exception to maintain a fire pit and seating wall that exceeds the horizontal maximum and is a second accessory structure.
And 12 is allowable. What is the horizontal?
This is 18 by 2.
And that's the only variance you seek?
Yes. So they're in compliance with the maximum square footage and the side and rear setbacks.
Okay. Is there anything else you wish to add, Ms. Pangallo?
No.
Okay. Do I have any other questions from the board? If I do not, do I have a motion?
I move that the hearing be closed, the case placed on the decision calendar. When the board renders this decision, you will be notified.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Pangallo.
Thank you.
I figured you were up.
Next, we have case 30324, Wanda Carmine and Diane Accordino. Special exception to maintain a shed higher than permitted and exceeding horizontal maximum, also known as 324 Twin Lane South. Ms. Bengala, I have you signed in for earlier.
Good morning again, Ms. Pengello.
Hello again. I'm representing Diane and Carmine Aquadino of Twin Lane South in Wantua. The property is located on the north side of Twin Lane South, 637.97 feet west of Twisting Lane in the LPRD district.
This one needs height and one horizontal.
Yes. So the length and width allowed are 12 by 12, and the width and length provided is 16.1 by 10.4. The maximum square footage is 144 square feet, and the square footage provided is 167.44 square feet.
Hold on, Ms. Pengello.
Sure.
Hold on. So we don't have larger on.
We're going.
Dawn, can we look at this? Give me a second. We don't seem to have larger, so we might need to amend the caption.
Okay.
Horizontal and higher. She's got 160 on the larger.
Right. You take that.
All right, Ms. Pengello, we'll amend the caption. Since, just for the record, since the materials were all accurately presented, the sizes are shown clearly and have been on file for over 30 days, I feel that there's sufficient notice given. We'll amend the caption to include larger, so you'll need larger, higher, and horizontal on one side. The larger number was 160, what was it, 160?
167.44 square feet.
Where 144 is allowable, and on the height, 9 is allowable. What did you say was the height?
9 feet 7 inches.
9 feet 7 inches.
We
And
do
other than those relatively de minimis variances, you need no other relief, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, do we have any other
I want to
questions?
see what the search shows.
Go ahead.
Open.
I think somebody did this.
One moment, we're looking through some of the materials.
You have an open permit for a 6-foot fence.
Yes, we'll have that inspected at the same time, assuming if this is granted, with the shed.
Was it the subject of a variance or?
No, just a regular
Behind the
fence, yes.
It's not forward of the dwelling. Okay. I have no further questions, Chairwoman.
Do I have a motion then?
There's people here who signed
Oh,
in.
I didn't see them. Can I see the signature sheet?
I don't have it. Do I have it?
Yeah.
No sign sheet. That's the old case.
One moment.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was attached.
All right. Okay, I apologize. Jane Ballenstein, I hope I'm saying it right, or Barron, it looks like Ballenstein, and Ralph. Say again? Okay, I apologize. You folks have signed in opposition to the application. Ms. Bengallo, if you're finished, can you swap them so they can come up?
Sure. I also have letters from the 4 neighbors into the rear of the property where the shed is, saying they have no objection.
Okay, we'll accept those in evidence. Mr. and Mrs. Ballesteri, please come forward. Were you already sworn in? Okay, so swear them in, Patrick.
Ralph Balistreri, 26 Twin Lane South, Wantua, New York, 11793.
Jane Balistreri, 26 Twin Lane South, Wantua, New York, 11793.
Good morning. You folks have signed in and you have some interest in this case. So go ahead and, I don't know if you both want to speak. Who wants to speak first? Go ahead.
Well, we have some pictures if you want to see them, but this has been an ongoing dispute with our neighbors since 2011.
Hold on. The photographs that you have, are they printed?
Yes.
And would you like to submit them in evidence?
Yeah.
Who took the photographs?
I did.
Okay. And do they fairly and accurately represent what they purport to represent? They've not been otherwise altered, and they're properly, if you say it's 407 this street, that's what it is. We'll accept those into evidence.
Okay, I'll just keep it from 2023. We were in Florida, and I got a notification on my Ring phone that somebody was up in our trees that had joined them, our neighbors. They were cutting trees down on our side of the property. I understand you can cut trees on that hang over on her side, but they never got permission from us to do anything. So I, friendly with a neighbor down the block, he came down, and as soon as he came down, the people left immediately. We didn't do anything about that.
Okay, but sir, that.
I'm just trying to set, because it's more than just about the shed.
But that's what we're here for, is the shed.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but that is our limit of our jurisdiction.
Okay. I'm just trying to say, so I put up a fence, a 4-foot fence in the front of my house last June.
On, running along Twin Lane South?
Yes.
Okay.
She made a complaint. I went to go to file for it, and I saw that I would have to put in a survey. So I have an illegal extension. So I took the fence down on my own volition, because I didn't want to submit that, right? So at the same time, I made a complaint against 3 sections of fence that she put in the front. With that, in November, I got another notice about my extension that was illegal. I filed all the permits. It's now legal, okay? She went, and I didn't make a complaint about her fence, about her shed, okay?
I'm going to stop you in a second. I'm sorry. It sounds like you guys have a lot of problems as neighbors. We've all been there.
I'm trying to explain why I'm fighting the shed.
Okay, but if you're fighting the shed, tell us about the shed, because it's so extraneous. Whether or not they cut your trees, maybe they did and maybe that was wrong. The fact that you guys are fighting over fences and illegal extensions, unfortunate, but not before us. We have a shed here that is in the rear yard, and it's on the other side of the property line they share with you. It has some relatively, that's not how it's shown on the map.
No. Dawn,
show this to Ms. Pangala. Ms. Pangala, have you been to the property? Okay. Okay, come look at this, if you will, Ms. Pangala, approach. You're welcome, one of you welcome to approach too, so we're not having it.
That's correct, that's the house, and that's where the shed is.
Okay, look at. It's shown on the wrong side.
Do you want to see the photos of it?
No, not necessary.
Let's figure this one out.
We're gonna have to refile, I guess, and put the right location on file for 30 days. Okay, you guys can all go sit back down. Okay, according to the applicant's representative, Ms. Pangallo, the shed has been inadvertently located on the wrong side. Ms. Pangallo has said from the beginning which side it's on. It appears to be a paperwork error. As such, we're going to have to adjourn the case so that Ms. Pangallo can correct the site plan and file it with the zoning board and keep it on file for the 30 days prior as required by law. So, Patrick.
Can't we continue? To get that in. I don't care if it wasn't, but I just want him to see it.
I want to mention something about the cameras.
I'm gonna say that next. No, I was getting to it.
I was the one who was going to go into politics.
Okay, I take it back. So that Mr. Pellegrini had a good thought, which is rather than make folks take another day off work, we can finish hearing the information. Ms. Pangallo will correct the records and we'll go from there. Okay, so I want to let you guys go ahead and tell us what you want to tell us about the shed. And its location because it is along your property line. It was,
It's right on top. It's well within the 2 feet of the property.
yeah, well, it's not here for the setback. It's properly located. What it's here for is that it's 7 inches taller than it's supposed to be. On one side, it's 4 feet longer than it should be. And the overall size is 16 square feet larger than it's supposed to be as of right.
You say there's 2 violations, but the way I read it, it says it can't be within 2 feet of the property line, and it's well within 2 feet of the property line.
Hold on.
That will, because it's on the plot plan wrong. When the new plot plan is submitted, Ms. Pangallo is going to ensure, she'll ensure the board that it's properly located.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a second.
Just don't talk
Stop.
over Mr. Pellegrini.
If, assuming that it will be properly located when it's redrawn, that she's not going to move it, it's just going to be drawn accurately. If it's not drawn accurately and it needs a setback variance, she'll be back here and you'll be notified that it needs an additional variance. As simple as that.
In that regard, Christina, should we have Ms. Pangallo run it through the building department, or should we run it through here to make sure there's not an additional variance? Setback, he's claiming there might be a setback issue.
That would be, it would have to be moved if it doesn't. Send it to them to review.
Okay, Ms. Pangallo, so make sure that you check and properly note on the survey the setback that actually exists, and then get it to our office. We will run it through the building department and make sure that there's not also a setback variance necessary. Obviously, if there's an additional variance, we come upon another notice requirement, you know. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay. Not only with the shed, but on top of their shed, they have a camera pointed directly into our backyard. So that's, and it's not supposed, they're using it as a vehicle to just take away our privacy.
And I understand,
One goes directly into my bedroom.
I
keep my blind closed all the time. That's disgusting.
I understand. I've experienced the same thing. It's disgusting, but it's not before this board. I apologize. That would be I don't know if it's a civil matter or any other kind of matter, but we can't, it's not in our purview to.
What venue do you go to take care of it?
I would seek counsel of an attorney to find out whether or not you can bring a civil action, whether or not it's something that should be reported to the authorities. I don't personally know, but I agree with you. It's not pleasant to have that happen if that's in fact what's happening. Okay, so what else do we want to hear about the shed? You're opposed to it because it's set back, you believe it's set too close to the fence. Obviously the camera issue, which is not before us.
They had it wasn't sided till like the last year or two, and it was dilapidated, painting rotted all over. And then, I don't know, some miracle, they decided to side it for some reason. But they didn't camp.
Okay, I think if that's all you wish to tell us about it, Ms. Pangallo, is there anything? So,
And the camera on top that looks into the bedroom upstairs, and the camera downstairs that looks into our bedroom. I guess we could go civil. I could call 911, and I could make a report that they're literally peeping into our bedroom because it's right across from our bed. I have to close every time. My bedroom is always black.
okay. Again, not within our purview, and we're not really in a position to say you should or shouldn't do any of that. So I'll leave that to you. So I'll let you folks go sit back down. Ms. Pangallo, you want to summarize your situation, and we'll go from there.
I would just like to add that the shed has been there for 22 years, and since this whole thing came out with the fence, that's when the shed came up. So it just seems like it's just been a war going back and forth with them, but the shed has been there for 22 years with no complaints. I'll speak to them about the cameras.
Thank you.
It was my understanding that they also had cameras, but like I said, it's just a whole crazy thing. And we will amend the plot plan so that it matches what it's supposed to be, and I apologize for that.
Make sure that you measure the setback and it's
Yes.
properly, accurately on the set plan, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, are there any other questions from the board? If not, is there a motion?
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on the decision calendar. When the board renders this decision, you will be notified.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
They got papers down there.
Next, we have case 30424, Oceanside, Lucy DeRocco. Variance lot area occupied, construct addition attached dwelling, also known as 73 Bellevue Avenue.
Tina?
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please take a seat and state your name and address for the record.
Lisa Koshia with Permits R Us, 338 Jericho Turnpike, number 396, Syosset, New York, 11791.
Good morning, Ms. Kachia.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'm here representing Mr. and Mrs. DeRocco, who wishes to construct a one-story addition to their dwelling. This property is located in a Residence B zone. The proposed one-story addition is only 247 square feet and will be creating a sunroom and a bathroom. The space is very much needed as this is a small home. This is a substandard lot, and any improvements will wind up creating a variance. We have spoken to all the neighbors, no one has any objections, and I have 4 letters from neighbors stating that they have no objections that I could submit into evidence if I
Accept
can.
those in evidence, Ms. Kachia.
Sure, thank you.
27 and a half is allowable. What do you propose? 31.07.
27. Yes, and we are proposing 31.07%.
And that's the only variance you seek today?
Correct.
Okay. Is there anything else you wish to add?
No, thank you.
Do I have any other questions from the board?
There's open building permit for a rear extension. Rear
Yes.
addition.
Not this.
It's an
that's,
old permit
the
that's
case
going to be
about the-
closed
yeah,
out.
It's still open, right. And in 1972, the board granted this with findings. Do you happen to have a copy of that decision? Okay, you find it.
For the 1972, the maintain one family dwelling in one car detached garage.
Yes. It was a subdivision.
I don't know if I have a copy.
Okay.
I want to say no. Plans.
Council's indicated she can get a copy.
And everything depicted on your site plan or plat plan is accurate?
There are, since
That was supposed
that
to be,
was
yes.
drawn, yeah. But just an FYI, there are 2 split units that were installed for AC. They just had them installed. The contractor told them they didn't need permits, but when we saw them, we said, you need to have permits. So we're in the process of filing that right now.
Are they going to need a variance? Are they setbacks? Or
No.
I have no further questions.
Do I have?
What?
I missed that.
One down here.
In the backyard, are there any other, looks like a shed. I'm looking at Google.
It's not a permanent shed. They put a storage piece back there to put for while they're going to be under the construction, just to put stuff. But that shed, it's not really a shed, but it's going to be removed. That structure will be removed. It's temporary.
The one in the corner?
It's to the rear on the corner, yes.
Right, and it looks as if there's also something beside it. It looks like 2 separate units.
Now, I only know of one that they had just a construction material and that they said that one, just for storage, it's not construction material, it's just storage of their personal items in there.
So they will be
It
removed?
will be gone. There'll be nothing, no sheds or storage facility of any kind in the back.
Okay, so they are not permanent?
They are not permanent, correct.
Okay. See, Joe.
Yeah, but that's not, what is this thing?
Well, this too.
Well, it should be shown on the plot plan.
There's a detached garage there too.
No, I see the detached garage.
Okay.
You want to approach and look
Sure,
at these two?
sure.
Here's the, right. Okay, here's the detached garage. Okay, but here are, look like two,
No, one is like, literally like a tent. It looks like that from here, but it's like.
Well, why don't you go there and take a look at it? And if it's still there, then you have to submit an amended site plan showing it there.
Okay.
And that should be,
and this looks like a permanent structure.
All right, I'll go back and look. It was there, but it wasn't permanent. Okay, I will go back and I'll look.
it may not necessarily. What happens if a big wind comes in and blows over and hits somebody in the head next door? That's why this stuff needs permits. It's for public safety. It's not to break chops.
Right, right.
Okay, all right,
So
thank you.
This will be held on reserve. You're gonna submit amended stuff.
Okay. Designate what's what it is. It's a temporary that will be removed, right in on that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Are there any other questions from the board?
Just for the record, the sidebar indicated that Ms. Cucchiara is going to submit an amended site plan showing two structures that were not shown on the plot plan, and she will clearly identify them and discuss with her client whether or not they will remain or be removed. So it'll be held on reserve until that submission takes place.
Okay. That said, are there any other questions from the board? And if not, do I have a motion?
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on the decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you will be notified. Thank
Do I
you.
have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Cucchiara.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Next, we have cases 30524 through 30824. Merrick, Douglas Moore, and Ellen Kaplan. Special exception to maintain accessory structure shed higher than permitted, exceeding horizontal maximum and with lot area occupied variance. Special exception to maintain second accessory structure, rear trellis larger than permitted, exceeding horizontal maximum on both sides with less than required side yard setback and with lot area occupied variances. Special exception to maintain third accessory structure, front trellis larger than permitted, exceeding horizontal maximum and with lot area occupied and average front yard setback variances. Special exception to maintain fourth accessory structure, gazebo higher and larger than permitted, exceeds horizontal maximum on both sides and with lot area occupied variance, also known as 33 Nancy Boulevard.
Good morning again, Ms. Pangallo.
Just your name and address.
Tina Pangallo, 549 Hempstead Turnpike, West Hempstead, New York, 11552. Again, I'm
Ms.
representing
Pangallo?
Daniel Moore. Yes.
You have 4 accessory structures. You might,
Yes.
can you just go through the?
Sure.
They all need various things. If you want to
Yes.
just
So they
check that
all
off.
violate the lot coverage allowed of 27.5. The lot coverage is 37.3. The existing house is at 27.5, so anything after that would need the variance. The shed is 14 by
Hold on.
7, oh, sorry.
The provided says 34.5 on
That's for just the shed adds to it, I think. Because this one, hold on. This one shows that the net is 37.5, so someone probably did, you know how they do that? They say, the house is 27, house, the shed makes it 34, then the next item.
I see.
That's my guess.
Right, so the total is 37.3 with all the structures.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the shed is 14 by 7.6. The square footage complies. The height is 9 feet 10 inches rather than 9 feet. It does maintain the side and rear yards allowed. The rear trellis is 17.1 by 17.8, and the square footage is 30438. The side yard is 2 feet and 1 foot, so we're going for side yard.
This trellis is all open, right?
That is correct. Yes, it's 8 feet 3 inches high, so it complies with the height allowed. That's the second accessory structure. The third accessory structure is the front trellis, which violates the average front yard setback of 27.4, where the front yard setback is 18.7. Rather than 12 by 12, it is 15.57 by 11. The square footage is 141.27, so we're over our 144 square footage, and this is the third accessory structure.
It's 141, you're under the 144. I thought you said over.
It's 171.27, so we're over
Oh,
the
you're over on that.
144 square footage for the front trellis.
Go ahead.
The gazebo is 16 feet by 5 inches, 16 feet 5 inches by 12 feet 1.5 inches. So it violates the 12 by 12s allowed. The square footage is 199.13 square feet. So we violate our maximum square footage. The height is 10 feet 2 inches, where we violate our 9 feet height allowed. And that's the fourth accessory structure.
And the 2, 3, and 4 all need special exception because they're additional exceptions.
Correct.
Good question.
Yes, I would also like to submit letters from 4 neighbors, the 2 directly next door and 2 across the street, saying they have no objections to the board granting this variance.
We'll accept those. How does your client come to know these needed relief?
The code enforcer came by, and when they were doing the trellis out front, so I don't know whether it was a complaint or he was just driving by. There doesn't seem to be any complaints from the neighbors, but when he was putting up the front trellis, that became.
So the front.
So once that became an issue, everything obviously we had to legalize.
Right. The front is new, is relatively new, then I take it. And the other structures out roughly, how long have they been
About
there?
5 years.
This is yours.
Yeah, I see that.
No, it is.
And it keeps the yard very well maintained, flowers in bloom, and everything is always looking very pretty. His family, enjoys the backyard, especially during COVID, which was when a lot of that original stuff was done in the back.
Is there anything else you wish to add, Ms. Pangallo?
No.
Okay. I know, give me the chance. Any other question from the board?
Yes. Okay, I'm looking at Google Earth.
Yes.
It looks as if there are 4 things in the backyard, along with the shed, the gazebo, and the trellis. It's
There's a
something
pond,
which is, what?
There's a pond.
I see the pond,
Okay.
right, and there's another structure that I see on Google Earth.
Well, as I say, there's definitely nothing else there. I think
Hold on.
I don't know what
Was
it
there
would be.
something there before?
Hold on. Why don't you have your client come up here? Have you been sworn in, sir? Okay, so
There
come up
should.
here and get sworn in so we can have you tell us what's there.
This
Okay?
is what I want. Yes, yeah.
You can have a seat, sir. Share the microphone, Ms. Pangallo. Oh, Ms. Pangallo.
Yes, yeah. It's an umbrella one.
Okay, Stephanie, did you get the name? Okay, let's back up. She needs to hear you because she makes a transcript. So loudly state your name and address.
Douglas Moore, and it's an umbrella.
Wait, address.
33 Nancy Boulevard.
Okay, and town.
Merrick, New York, 11566.
Thank you. Now go ahead and tell us answer Ms. Adams' question.
This is an umbrella. It's an umbrella.
Okay.
A crank.
We got it. It's an umbrella.
Okay. So there's like a table there, and this is above the table.
Coffee table, yeah. Yes.
So there's not a 4th structure.
5th.
God. I know we're already pushing it.
In the back.
Yeah, we have these things for shade and we try
Okay.
and.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, are there any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move the hearing be closed, the case be placed on the board's decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, all parties who have signed in today will be notified by mail.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Next, we have case 30924, Levittown, Hong Yang Lin and Seiya Zhang. Variance, front yard average setback, construct 2-story addition with portico attached dwelling. Please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please take a seat and state your name and address for the record.
Yeah. Hi, good morning. My name is Wan Long Hee from. Okay. Yeah, my name is Wan Long He from HWA Engineer PC. Represent property owner Hong Ying Ling and Sai Yu Zheng for the permit application for this.
I'm going to need you to speak louder. She has to write it all down. So just speak as loudly as you can. It's more difficult
Okay.
to hear than you think.
My name is Wan Long He from HWA Engineer PC. I'm represent Hong Ying Ling and Sai Yu Zheng.
And you're here today, folks, because you want to construct a portico, and that portico will violate the front yard average setback. Can you tell us what that setback is supposed to be and what you propose?
So this is the front yard extension. The code requirement, the minimum maintains 30 feet, and also the average front setback within 200 feet. In our case, we propose 10 feet extension from the existing, and we still maintain 30 feet and 30 and 5 feet front yard, the requirement, but is 4.9 feet exceed the average front yard.
So let me just look at the materials here and see if I'm understanding you. It looks to me like the proposal, other than that little bump out for the stoop, that the closest it is proposed going toward Loring Road is 30.47. Is that correct? That's the closest point other than that little stoop, which is probably a permitted encroachment.
So, yes.
Okay. Okay, so if I'm accurately reading that. So let's just see what your front yard average is supposed to be. It should be here on the materials. It looks like your front yard average is supposed to be, it says average front greater than 30, but you're proposing something greater than 30 by 0.47. Hold on, Joe.
The average front yard is 35.4 feet.
Okay, hold on. Where are you getting that? Because I'm looking at your zoning analysis grid, and it says the following. Allowable average front, existing 40.5, proposed 30.5, remark greater than 30. Proposed 10-foot front yard requires 4.9. I'm not seeing it.
Average is on average front yard analysis have that dimension 35.4.
Okay, so you're telling us that 35.4, which would be consistent with what you're saying, then it's just not on the chart. Oh, here we go, over in the notes instead of the chart. All right, so let's make the record properly. It should be 35.4 as you indicated, and you're proposing 30.047, rounding up to 30.5, and that is the only variance you seek here today.
Yes.
Okay, is there anything else you need to tell us about?
I think the reason is that for that additional extension because her father is a disability person and sitting in the wheelchair almost every day. So they want a little bit bigger space so I can turn around in the living room. So I mean that the front, that is the living room we proposed.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions from the board? If not, is there a motion?
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on the decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you'll be notified.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Next, we have case 31024, Wanto, Anthony Sanfilippo. Variance front yard setback on Orchid Road. Construct a one-story addition attached to dwelling. Ms. Lowe, we have you signed in from earlier. Just your name and address for the record.
How are you doing? Are you sure? We have 1, 2, 3, 6 more than 5 more cases. After this one, we'll take a short adjournment. Ms. Lowe, tell us your name and address for the record, please.
Good morning again. My name is Ashley Lowe from Mark Anthony Architects. Our office is located at 1563 Belmore Avenue in Belmore, New York. I am here today representing my client, Anthony Sanfilippo, who is the owner and occupant of the subject property located at 1539 Henry Road in Montauk, New York. We are here today as a result of an application for a proposed first and second story addition, a proposed attached garage, interior alterations, and 2 AC units.
Oh, I only have you here for a single-story addition. Let me read it. Variance front yard.
That's the only thing going for the variance. The application as a whole is.
The others as of right.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me skip that. We are here for a variance for a front yard setback. This is for a corner property, and the front yard setback in the secondary front yard has a proposed setback of 20.25 feet, where 25 feet is required. For this, we request a variance for 4.75 feet. This setback goes to the proposed one-story addition in the front of the house and will allow the Sanfilippo family to have the dream kitchen that they have proposed. As they are a large Italian family and do a lot of hosting and cooking, they wanted to have the space to do so with family and friends. That is our only request for today. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Is that your case, Ms. Lowe?
Yes.
Do we have any other questions from the board?
It meets the side yard requirements?
Yes. Yes.
Because it's a 70-foot wide parcel.
There's only the one side yard because it's a corner property, so it's considered 2 front yards. The secondary yard is the one that goes for the variance. The side yard setback is 6.42 and the requirement is 5 feet.
Folks, while Mr. Pellegrini is reviewing these materials, we are going to have to take a short recess to allow the court reporter to rest her hands, and we'll come back and get through these cases quickly. I apologize for you having to wait so long, but there's only so much blood flow she can lose before she needs a short break. So we'll take a short recess. There is a cafeteria nearby if you want a beverage or a cup of coffee, and we'll be back at it.
Did you had a variance to construct a front roofed over porch with?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you say that? Can you start over?
Yes. An application in 2019, variance to construct front roof over open porch.
Yes.
And it was with conditions.
We were not hired to take care of that variance.
Okay, were the conditions met, do you know? And I don't know.
I don't believe that. So that porch still hasn't been built. That porch is still an application. It's under application 19-4179. So it never was turned into a permit.
3884, last 4 digits, right?
Oh, I have the new application number. That's the old one. Yes. The one on the portal is 19-4179.
It's never been built.
No. It was never even turned into a permit.
And it's beyond resurrecting it for an extension of time. It's not on the plot plan. I have no further questions.
Do I have a motion?
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on a decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you will be notified.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, as I said, folks, we'll return in 10 minutes. That's about 5 after. Stephanie, take your break.
Patrick?
No. Ask them for one of these. Because everyone does them.
Yeah. See if they're up front. It should be in there to the right. Yeah, the shed must be back here under the trees. It's a huge piece of property.
Yeah, it is. Look at, here's the shed, but it's an oversized shed.
Here's the shed.
I don't think it's oversized.
Is that what she said? So what is it, 144? What can the whole thing be? No, but what can the whole square thing be? Okay, Chuck, what can this be? 12 by
I think it's 144 square feet.
Okay, it's less than 140.
I'll take it though.
It's 131.7. Okay, so she told me I was allowed to do that. She said that to me. Yeah, because everyone can do it. Okay, 12 by 12. 12 foot height. So it could be 12 by 12. Well, that's 144.
Yeah, that I knew.
So what can it be?
It's only 144.
Also, the horizontal. Well, it's less than 144.
But the horizontal maximum exceeds 50.
Yes.
16.
But it is less than 144.
Yes.
Variance on the horizontal. Okay, but it doesn't say
how high it is. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, at this point, technically, it doesn't matter, because it needs to go enough. So, when she comes in the back, they get her on the higher square.
Does it say anywhere else where?
No, not even.
Are they laying up here? No, that's okay.
Are you cold?
Yeah.
Where's your shawl?
This is it.
John will give you the jacket.
Yeah, sure.
No, no, no. Oh, the last one we did.
Yes, yes.
So we used to be in here for many years.
Yes.
And then they moved us to the old courthouse. I have to go home. I have to go home. You have what? Oh, okay.
I have a credit card in my thing. I think I can. I can't go home yet.
I'll see. I'm gonna stop home to my house and have to pick up Donna.
Yep. It's always something. And then my other son came home late last night with all of his crap. So my back hurts because I'm like trying to help lift stuff. I shouldn't have been doing that, but he had so much stuff. And then it was raining. Yeah, but no, well, he's back, but then he's got to go back up on the 31st to pick up keys to the apartment because he's moving off campus. So that stuff is home temporarily for 2 weeks. It's so annoying. I'm like, couldn't you just, we should have rented storage space for 2 weeks. Put a pot out there and get a variance.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God.
Where does your son go to school?
He goes to UMass Amherst.
Oh, very nice.
He's in the business school.
Excellent.
So he just got home late last night.
Right.
With all his stuff that's in the basement. It's a disaster.
Yeah,
I mean, this is how my life. And then I get phone calls. I'm sitting here, which I'm like, what the heck is this? My other son's school.
Okay.
He's now sick, so my husband had to text my son to take him to the pediatrician. I mean, it's just never ending.
Doesn't stop, right? Doesn't stop.
Mother's Day, I was on a soccer field for hours on end. From Smithtown to Oyster Bay, all day long. I mean, like, it just...
Yeah, I know. In the rain, too.
Yeah. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, of course. Keeps you young, though, right?
Oh, my gosh. I guess so, yes. Oh, boy. So, I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. It's all good stuff, right?
It is good stuff.
It's all good stuff.
It is good stuff. It goes fast, so I just hope my little guy is okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Got a lot going on. But, you know, school, right? So,
Yeah, that's
knock
it.
on wood, he's been lucky. I don't want to say he hasn't been sick.
Right.
But now,
Yeah.
we'll say he's got a lot of tests coming up, you know,
yeah,
like at
that's
the end of
it.
school. So I'm like, oh, God, it's not a good time to be sick.
Is he local, your other son?
Well, he's in middle school.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, okay.
So,
Okay.
he's in 8th grade.
Oh, okay.
He's going to high school next year, so.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
Very nice.
All the craziness.
So you got a little span in between there.
I do. Yep. And I have a dog.
Yeah. Oh.
And I take care of my mother, so that's
Yeah. Oh, God bless.
It's a crazy.
God bless.
Yes. It's not easy.
No.
Oh, boy.
No. We all go through that.
Yeah. Not easy. It's not easy.
See, for us,
Oh, yeah.
old people, we can look at people's backyards. This is the next one up. So, like, say over here, this is the case they're calling. Yeah. So they're applying for something, and they give us a map, a garage there.
Oh, wow.
I don't know, but you know, you can see the area, like what all the structures are.
Next, we have case 311 of 24 near East Rockaway. Seamus Kerr. Variances: lot area occupied, front yard average setback, rear yard, construct second-story addition and open porch attached to dwelling, also known as 16 West Boulevard.
Thank you, Patrick.
Right.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Michelle Cozzolino. Address is 312 Ellington Avenue East, Garden City, New York, 11530.
Good morning, Ms. Cozzolino.
Good morning. I'd like to just give this into the board members so that everyone can follow along.
Tell us what it is.
It is just the construction plans, a lot larger so everyone can see the setbacks. There's also a copy of the radius map in order to see all the front yards of the abutting neighbors. And that's pretty much, and then an overall view of the house.
It's construction plans that are identical in their dimensions, et cetera, as those which have been on file for the board.
That have been submitted, correct.
Okay, we'll accept those into evidence.
Thank you.
What is it?
Good morning, members. My name is Michelle, representing Mr. Seamus Kerr, owner of the subject property at 16 West Boulevard, East Rockaway, New York, 11518, also known as Section 45, Block 23, Lot 111. We're seeking relief for the lot area occupied, front yard and rear yard variance. The existing house and garage on the property is a non-conforming, legalized and permitted that way, originally built in 1928, where we have a lot coverage of 35%. The square footage of coverage is 857.5 square feet. We are proposing a second-story addition with front and rear cantilevers, increasing the square footage of the existing footprint by 96 square feet, bringing the lot coverage to 38.92%.
What is it? I'm sorry.
We are increasing the square footage of 96.11 square feet.
Right, well, what's the increase in the lot area occupied you're proposing?
We're increasing it by, hold on one second.
No, just 2, I just need the 2. I'm just asking what you propose for lot area occupied.
We're proposing 38.92.
Okay, keep going. And what's the current lot area occupied of the?
It's 35% currently with the non-conforming. There's a difference of 3.92%.
All right.
The existing front steps of the house are currently 5 feet away from the property line. Homeowner is looking to create a side entry staircase to the front door in order to allow the cantilever above on the second floor to cover that front porch area. The cantilever above the front door will be used as a roof over buffer, as well as allowing the square footage to be increased for the second story addition by 55 square feet.
So what does the cantilever give us for a front yard average?
The front yard average is 10.97. We're requesting a front yard, we have a front yard variance of 5 feet.
Oh, so when you said it's now 5 feet, I thought the cantilever was going to encroach further.
The cantilever is going to encroach by 5 feet towards the front, allowing us to have only 5 feet left
Right, I
of
thought
property
the 5 feet
line.
was the now, but the 5 feet is the proposed.
Correct. We also, the last step of the front stoop that allows you into the house currently is at 5 feet as well. So the stoop itself, the stairs that leads you into the front door is 5 feet. All I'm saying is that we're staying within the means and bounds of the existing steps.
Right, but the steps is probably a permitted encroachment, right?
Yes, yes.
So the cantilever is just over and you don't propose any enclosure of?
No, there's no enclosures.
And your client be amenable to a condition if the board were see fit to impose that it not be enclosed in the future?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
The required rear yard setback in a residential C zone is a 25-foot. The existing rear yard setback to the first floor, as originally built, is 19.3 feet. The 1-foot cantilever at the second floor that we're proposing today is 18.3, so we're requesting relief of that in order to have a 16.5 square foot addition, part of the second story addition.
So, Ms. Casalina, I just
Yes.
want to make sure I understand. You're allowed 35 and the rest C, right?
We're allowed 25.
Oh, 25, okay. And you're at 35 now?
We're at 19.3 currently
Oh,
with
no,
the.
I'm sorry, I'm talking, I wasn't clear. I'm talking about lot area occupied.
Oh, yes, okay.
See, so you're allowed 35?
Well, it's a non-conforming dwelling on the property, so yeah, it's been built at 35% from the beginning.
And you're proposing to go up to
38.92. Correct.
On your front yard, you're currently at 10.97. You want to add a cantilever that takes you down to 5?
Correct.
And you're currently at 9.3 on the rear yard, and you want to add about a foot on a cantilever, take you to 18.3.
Correct.
Okay.
That concludes my case. Any questions from the board?
Looking for the source, I can't find it. Does the garage have a building permit?
The garage is part of the non-conforming dwelling. They were both built. The dwelling along with the garage were built back in 1928. It does have a permit, which is in motion along with the house. So it has been approved, and we're waiting just to get, final inspections completed along with the construction if we do obtain the approval through the board.
Okay, and
we also filed for the AC unit. That's also there. It's going to be brought up to DFE in order to comply with FEMA standards as well as the building department standards. And there's no additional accessory structures besides that.
Wait, speaking of, I apologize.
No.
So if you're putting the second story on, are you at a 50% issue? Do you have to elevate?
No. We currently have, the house itself right now has an attic space that is not utilized. So because of that, it's considered a dormer because we are just lifting the ridge a small bit in order, but we are still within the means and bounds of the height. So the second story addition technically is.
Yeah, I meant, assuming the house is not, since when it was built in 29 or something. Assuming it's not compliant with the FEMA, since you brought it up, my question was
it a 50%
is the
over?
Second story addition enough to kick you into the 50% to elevate? But apparently it's not.
It's
because
not.
you mentioned putting at the BFE for the AC.
For the AC unit, yes. Any other questions?
I'd like to ask the question, but I don't know whether it's,
I might have an answer.
there's a garage there. It's a detached garage.
Correct.
Although it's not before us, will that remain a garage?
That will remain a garage, a one-car garage. That was, once again, Mr. Pellegrini, that was built along with the house. It was
Yeah.
a non-conforming. It's stated on the property cards when the house was built.
I see that. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
If there are no further questions, do I have a motion?
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on the decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you'll be notified.
Thank you very much.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Cozzolino.
Next, we have cases 31224 through 31324, Seaford Michael and Kathleen Mayer. Variances, lot area occupied, side yards aggregate, rear yard, maintain wood decks, both attached to dwelling. Variance, lot area occupied, maintained shed, also known as 3787 Mill Road. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God? Please take a seat and state your name and address for the record.
Ricardo Cervini, Cervini, 77 Gaza Boulevard, Farmingdale, New York, 11735.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm here representing the property owners. Just a quick background. They purchased the property in 1996. There's two items in two of the structures that are in question, the shed and then the rear deck. The shed was there when they purchased the property. The deck was installed by them, they told me around 2017, which they spent around $20,000. I had asked them what the main reason was why the size of the deck, and they told me that they wanted to make use of the property because it's a small property and it's very damp back there. And it's easy for them when they come out of their, you got the back part of the house, you just come out onto the deck. If you see the photos, they have everything situated nicely on that deck back there.
So you're the only relief that shed needs is lot area occupied. The the deck needs that also. So it's a Residence B zone. It's allowed at 27.5%. Can you tell us the total lot area occupied being proposed here?
The existing for the home and the shed is at 34.3, including the deck. It brings it up to 51.4%.
Hold on. Home and shed.
It's 34.3%.
When we add the deck, you're at what?
Around 51.4%. So
hold on. Okay. How far off the grade is the deck?
That's what I was going to say. It's about 1.5, maybe a foot and a half. I mean, it's close to grade. I don't believe that there was any issues with the neighbors. I don't believe it's going to have any adverse effects with the characteristic of the neighborhood. If you see the photos, it's the way they situated everything, it is a nice setup for them.
Sir, if the board were inclined to look favorably on this request, would your client accept a condition that no portion of that deck ever be built in and enclosed and make additional rooms without relief?
Yeah, I don't believe they have any intentions with that, so I don't think it should be an issue I believe that they would agree to that.
Okay. For the deck, you need lot area occupied, we just discussed.
Yes.
In addition to that, you need side yard and side yard aggregate. Can you just give us those numbers for the record?
The minimum side yard, what's required is 5 feet. What's existing is 2.5, which is on the east side of the property. The minimum side yard aggregate, which is required, is 15. The existing is 13.1. And then the minimum rear yard is 15, what's required, and they have 4 feet from the property.
You said your client built the deck that's before us in about 2017. How did your client come to know it needed to be legalized? Did someone complain?
So what happened, what spurred all this, so they wanted to do a fireplace inside their home. And so when we were discussing with them, and I was like, town of Hempstead is going to start looking at all these things. And, we brought it to their attention.
Okay, so no complaints, no code enforcement. Just as part of your professional review, you were able to bring it to their attention that they needed
Correct.
For these items.
Yes,
okay.
Correct. So, yeah.
Is there anything else you wish to add at this time?
No. Does the board have any questions?
We'll get to that.
Okay, sure.
Are there any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on the decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you will be notified.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have case 31424, Elmont, Sharadaha, Perswad, and Tarif Riyad Isha. Variances, side yards aggregate, construct a second-story addition to dwelling, also known as 83 Oakley Avenue. Raise your right hand. Swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Please take a seat. State your name and address for the record.
Sharda Prasad, 80.
Lower the mic no, you didn't do anything wrong. I just want to make sure we can hear you. And speak as loudly and slowly as you can because she has to take it all down.
I apologize. I do speak.
You don't have to apologize. Just, if you can pull it a little closer, that'd be great. You have a delicate voice.
Sharda Prasad, 83 Oakley Avenue, Elmont, New York, 11003.
Tarif Isha, 83 Oakley Avenue, Elmont, New York, 11003.
You're here before us. You want to add a second-story addition to your house, and you need relief for side yard and side yard aggregates. So tell us about your proposal.
Tarif and I, this was our startup home. We just celebrated 18 years in this home.
Wow.
We raised both of our children here, and we love being residents of Elmont. And we don't want to leave our home, but going through this evaluation, we realized we don't have this space allotted. But unfortunately, this is how the house was built. So we're here to ask for approval for the variance.
So the addition you want to put on your house is entirely within the footprint of the existing structure? Okay, so whatever variances you seek today are already there and have been there for quite some time?
Correct.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add to your case?
No.
Okay. Do I have any other questions from the board?
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on the decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you will be notified.
Okay, a lot of the cases are decided this evening. If you like to check in next week or near the end of the week or next week and find out whether or not your case was decided. I know it's that time when people are trying to get contractors lined up, if it was decided favorably or unfavorably, but you can check in the next couple of days and find out, or you can watch the very exciting streaming archive video tonight when you have insomnia.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice day, folks.
Next, we have cases 17124 through 17224, Seaford, Carly McLaughlin. Maintain pool not permitted in front yard on Eve Drive with less than required front yard setback. Maintain pool deck with less than required front and side yard setbacks. Maintain shed with more than required side and rear yard setbacks and not permitted in the front yard on Day Street, also known as 4041 Eve Drive.
Yeah.
Name and address for the record.
Carly McLaughlin, 4041 Eve Drive, Seaford, New York, 11783.
There you go.
Good morning. My name is Melissa Graham. I'm from Long Island Perfect Permits. We are located at 124 Front Street, Suite 205, Massapequa Park, 11762, and I am the agent representing Carly McLaughlin. She is the owner of 4041 Eve Drive, Seaford, also known as Section 52, Block 364, Lot 7. This parcel is in a Residence B zone.
Nice to see you, Ms. Graham. We haven't seen you in a little while.
It's nice to see you too.
Welcome back.
Okay. Applications were filed to maintain a swimming pool with a raised deck and a shed. Because this is a corner property, the pool has been located in the front side yard with less than the required front yard and side yard setback. The pool and the raised patio maintain a 0 setback on the side and the front side property lines, where 4 foot is required on the side and 10 foot is required on the side front. Because of the location of the house on the lot, the side front is the only viable location for a pool. The raised patio is 19 inches above grade. The shed is located in the opposite side of the yard from the pool with a 36-foot front yard setback and a 5-foot side yard setback. The shed was installed in 2021. My client purchased the home in 2021. The shed was installed the same year, and the pool was installed in 2023. Client has spoken to most of the neighbors, and no one has any objections to this being granted. I also would like to put into evidence a list of neighbors' consent.
I'm sorry, miss. What is that a list of?
This is a neighbor consent form, all the neighbors in the area.
Okay, and who obtained those?
The homeowner did.
Okay, so you're familiar with the people who signed those, and they are the folks who signed them fairly and accurately represents what they told you and did in front of you. Okay, we'll accept those into evidence.
Okay.
Ms. Graham, why does the, must be the decking. It shows the, so it's marked patio and it shows 0 setbacks on Eve Drive and on, I don't know if you're calling that your rear or your side. But the arrow says to the pool, there's a 0. Am I reading that right?
Well, the pool has a 5-yard setback on each side. It's the patio that goes all the way to the corner.
Yes.
Oh, because the arrow points to the edge of the pool and then says 0.
It's a 5. It may not have come over correctly.
Yeah, look, it points to the edge of the pool and says 0. Okay. Thank you. Is there anything else, Ms. Graham, you would like to add?
No. Did you want another copy of the plot plan that's a little more clear?
No, this one's clear
Okay.
in terms of it's not blurry.
Okay.
But I'll leave it at that. One moment. Are there any other questions from the board?
No.
If there are not, may I have a motion, please?
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on the decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you will be notified.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, folks. Have a nice day. Sorry for the long wait.
Have a good day.
You too, folks. Do I have a motion related to, shall we close this for now and take a 5-minute adjournment before we do decisions? No. Keep going? Okay. We'll just stay in the driver's seat. Oh, you know what?
We have to close the AM session though.
That's what I was trying to do. No one wants to. So we're not closing. We're just going in. Well, that's what I just asked for and no one wanted to. I just asked for a motion. I mean, usually we close and take 5 minutes. They don't want to. I guess we can just keep going. Let me grab my other water, folks, and then we'll get going on decision.
Nobody knows. Not
What
going.
is the morning session?
Yeah.
Obviously,
Make notes in it.
Yeah.
I think it's sufficient that we
Yeah.
get record.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I move that we,
Oh, hold on. Do we have a motion to close the morning session of hearings?
I move that we close the 9:30 AM calendar for May 15th, 2024.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Do we
Happy?
open a deliberation session?
No.
I mean, it does seem like we should.
We should.
Because it's public thing.
It is.
All right, if we, I think. Patrick said we have to session closed. Okay. But I think since.
Is call attendance.
Yeah. All right, folks, are we ready to start our deliberation and decision-making session, for lack of a better term? All right. So we will begin by doing today's calendar, which obviously you're participating in. We will then get to reserve decisions, which you'll recuse on.
Start with Kim so they can hear how it's done.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, shall we call, let's, all right. All right, folks, so let's start with case 295 of 2024 in Wantagh affecting the property at 1350 Wantagh Avenue, renewal of a grant to maintain a menu board and sign. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 295 of 24 in Wantagh, Delight Long Island LLC, Wendy's, located at 1350 Wantagh Avenue, be approved as requested with normal sign conditions temporary.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Case 296 of 2024, another Wendy's sign, this one located at 65 Hempstead Turnpike in West Hempstead. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I move that case 296, 2024, located at 65 Hempstead Turnpike in West Hempstead, a Wendy's, that it be granted with the same previously imposed conditions, 5 years.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Case 297, 2024, Wendy's sign number 3, this one located at 3882 Sunrise Highway in Seaford. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 297 of 2024, location of property 3882 Sunrise Highway in Seaford, be granted as requested with previous conditions for a period of 5 years.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Case 398 of 2024 in Elmont, Giuseppe I can't believe it. Mrs.
Pedisano.
Pedisano, you think I can say it,
I'm
right?
not even.
I move
Uh,
case 29824 Elmont Giuseppe Apasandano, renewal of grant to maintain two-family dwelling for 5 years as previously done.
With same conditions, do I have a second?
Same conditions.
Do I have a second?
Okay, I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Case 299, near Bethpage, located at 280 Hicksville Road. It's a renewal of a grant to maintain a 6-foot fence for the dwelling on Hicksville Road. The board granted an appearance waiver for the applicant. Do I have any discussion on the merits? If not, do I have a motion?
Yes, I make a motion to grant it with the same conditions.
Temporarily. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Case 300 of 2024 and 301 of 2024, Eileen Prozac. This is the request for a medical conditional 2-family. This case, I think there were some materials that were requested, so we will put this on hold, and we will consider it as a medical 2-family when we do consider it, not providing any precedential effect for anyone not requesting a medical in the future. Case number 302 of 2024, Rita Benani. It's a special exception to maintain a second accessory structure. It affects the property at 54 Curtis Place near Bethpage. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 302 of 24 near Bethpage, Rita Benani, located at 54 Curtis Place, be approved as requested with fire pit conditions.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Case 303, 2024 in Wantagh, Carmine and Diane Accordino. It's a special exception to maintain a shed with other variances. It affects the property at 324 Twin Lane in Wantagh. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I move that case 303 of 2024, Arcandino at 324 Twin Lane South in Wantagh be granted as requested.
Second. Second?
The caption, I believe it was additional relief, right? Isn't this the one that needs shed higher and larger than?
Hold on. Oh, hold on. She's right. I missed we're waiting for the new site plans because this is also the one that may, isn't this one that may require, we have to determine whether or not, okay.
Yes.
So,
We need to figure out
The
whether or not
Riccio,
it's
next
side
one
yard
is.
relief as well.
that's
Correct. So we're holding it.
So we'll already amend, I already moved to amend.
This is the opposite
caption to
side?
add the larger, and we will
One where the
hold it.
neighbors will fight.
So, all right, so case number 303 of 2024, the caption was amended during the hearing to include larger than permitted, as that was already in the plans properly, and sufficient notice was on file. We're waiting, we're going to put this on reserve, waiting for a new site plan, and for our board, our office to send it to the building department to analyze whether or not there is a side yard variance also needed. Sorry about that. Case 304 of 2024, Lucy DeRocco, located 73 Bellevue Avenue. Hold on, let's get 73 Bellevue Avenue in Oceanside. Council is telling me we need a new site plan for that case. We'll put that on reserve. Mr. Pellegrini also requested a copy of the prior decision, so maybe we can pull that in our office. Cases 305 through 308 of 2024 in Merrick, Douglas Moore and Elaine Kaplan. The property is located at 33 Nancy Boulevard in Merrick. Multiple requests for accessory structures, 4 to be exact. Do I have any discussion on this case? If not, do I have a motion?
I move that case 305 to 308, 2024, the Kaplans at 33 Nancy Boulevard in Merrick be granted as requested, and those that we normally would grant as temporary be temporarily granted.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Case 309 of 2024 in Levittown, Hong Ying Lin and Sai Ya Zheng. Variances in lot area occupied, average setback to construct a second-story addition with a portico attached to the dwelling. This is property is 329 Loring Road in Levittown. Do I have any discussion? Not, do I have a motion?
I move case 309 of 2024, location of property 329 Loring Road in Levittown, be granted as requested.
Second. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Case 310 of 2024 in Wanta, Anthony Sanfilippo, front yard average setback on Orchard Road. The property is at 1539 Henry Road in Wanta. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
Motion for case 3124, Wantor Anthony Sanfilippo for variance front yard setback on Orchard Street, construct an addition to the dwelling, be granted.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Case 311 of 2024 in East Rockaway, Seamus Kerr, lot area occupied, front yard average setback and rear yard to construct a second-story addition and open porch attached to the dwelling. The property is located at 16 West Boulevard, near East Rockaway. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion? Having no discussion, do I have a motion?
I have a motion for 311-24, Seamus Kerr, variances, lot area occupied, front yard average setback, rear yard constructed second-story addition, and open porch attached to dwelling, 16 West Boulevard. It should be granted with conditions.
Second.
The porch remain open, yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Case number 312 of 2024 and 313 of 2024, Michael and Kathleen Mayer. The property is located at 3787 Mill Road in Seaford. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 312 to 313 of 24 in Seaford, Michael and Kathleen Mayer at 3787 Mill Road be approved as requested.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Case 314 of 2024 in Elmont, Shardaha Persuad, sorry if I butchered that, Tarif Rihad Isha. Variances side yard aggregate construct a second-story addition attached to the dwelling. This property is located at 83 Oakley Avenue in Elmont. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I move that case number 314, 2024, 83 Oakley Avenue in Elmont be granted as requested.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Cases 171 of 2024 and 172 of 24. This is a case to maintain a pool in the front yard on Eve Drive, which is less than the required front yard setback, maintain a pool deck with less than the required front and side yard setbacks, and maintain a shed with more than the required side and rear yard setbacks and not permitted in the front yard. The property is located at 4041 Eve Drive in Seaford. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I move cases 171 and 172 of 2024. Location of property 4041 Eve Drive in Seaford be granted as requested with all conditions with respect to the pool and deck and the shed.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, folks, let's get to the reserve calendar. And Mr. Patrick or Ms. Christina, you're going to tell us what is ripe for consideration. It's cold in here.
So the first one, I don't know if you want to wait for the chairman. 12224 Woodmere, congregation by Yusuf Fund. We have the landscaping plan. We also contacted the applicant's attorney. Do we need a supermajority?
Wait, are we talking about 365 of 2022 and 368?
She does.
Oh, when you said first, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, yes, I would definitely think we wait for the chairman.
Okay, so we'll hold that for the afternoon.
Which one are we on, sorry?
I'm going to let you tell us what you have ready, and then then we'll go through the board members and see what matters the board members are ready to.
Okay,
And
yeah, and I actually had slightly.
Yeah, right.
I mean, some may not, you might not want to make. Well, just for the record, case, we have the draft decision on case 753 of 2023. The board will hold that until the chairman is present, and we can go over that with all members here. Likewise, 794 we will hold for the chairman. 788 we will hold for the chairman's presence.
So the only one that we then have an update on is, well, we can't even vote on it if the chairman's here because Ms. Adams was out.
Okay, so that's those. Are there any cases that board members have to bring up on the reserve calendar that we can resolve in the absence of the chairman?
I'm not sure if you want to look at 25424.
254.
Mineola Avenue.
254.
It's on page 3 of the reserve.
Let's see, I inspected that. Did you? So let's hold this also for the chairman. Is there anything, Kim, that you did that you would, well, we'll hold your stuff for the chairman to be present. Because there was a day Ms. Adams was gone. There was a day I had to recuse on one or more matters. So I think it's better we wait till we have the contingent. The one issue is I won't be here at the end, right? Because, so I. Okay, let's do that.
So, last hearing, there was a case, it was 983 Alhambra Road, you're not gonna have it. But, we denied a fence that was previously given a variance by this board back in the 90s. That being said, the variance had expired. It was never renewed. It was about it was expired for about 20 years. But again, I didn't know if maybe the board would change its.
Are we certain that it was in the same location as proposed?
Yes, we do have.
Is it forward of the house?
It is.
Was the prior grant temporary or permanent?
It was temporary, and again, it's been lapsed for over 20 years.
And the height is the same as that which was granted?
It was. It had a 4-foot setback. Again, you know what, I know the chairman went and inspected this, so if you'd like to
Oh,
just hold
let's
that for
wait
him.
for the chairman then.
Perfect. The other one, okay, you guys will remember 2255 Center Avenue. That was that case where they wanted a parallel park adjacent to the building.
I
that one?
remember, 4 cars, and the neighborhood was happy with that,
Well,
but they can't get the curb cut.
Well, yeah, the neighborhood was not happy with that because they generally park regardless. So
Okay.
at the last hearing, the board, we permitted them to have one handy ADA compliant spot on Center, right?
Oh, I thought that ADA, I thought that ADA compliance spot was on their own property on Center Avenue.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. But, you know, in going over the decision, I was speaking with Ms. DeResta, and she had a good idea that.
Oh, God, that
they,
didn't take
so
me away.
town code permits-
Delta Dawn.
So town code permits a 25-foot curb cut.
Okay.
Okay, so I believe, as does Dawn, that we would actually be able to permit 2 regular spots, which are 9 feet. That's gonna be 18 feet, plus
Wait,
the ADA
they're 9 by
spot.
18, so if they're parking parallel, it's 18 and
Yeah,
18.
but this is on Center where they would park head-in, not parallel.
Oh,
Parallel is
okay.
denied.
Okay, okay,
That's,
okay.
You know, and my understanding is that the building department is going to require them to go through all of the other departments, and they're gonna have to restore that curb.
So you
But
mean at the curb cut, which can be 25 feet wide?
Correct.
You want to have 2 pull-in spots,
Well, they could actually.
9 by 18.
They could actually have 3.
3 times.
They could have the ADA, think about it, the part where, you know, you have to have it striped, doesn't need to be by a curb cut.
Right.
So, and that spot is, I believe, 8 feet in width, it's slightly smaller. So technically, you would be able to take 2 additional cars off of the street by permitting that, so.
Well, and we could grant 8s. 3 8s is 24.
You could do that as well, but, I mean, I don't know if the board was inclined to maybe grant slightly.
We'd have to also grant insufficient backup, stall size and backup.
I don't believe it was denied for that, because it goes right into the street.
But it wasn't proposed this way. That's why it wasn't
No, it
denied
was.
for that.
It was. It was proposed that it would have parking on Center and on Royat, and Royat was the big problem. That's where they had the perpendicular, they were trying to park parallel to the building, it was.
Okay, so all I'm saying, let's check with the building department, because I don't know if having the street as the only backup, it may be acceptable, but we need 24, but let's ask real quick, the building department, so that we can grant that if we want to grant this
And again,
at the same time.
And again, my understanding was that additional spots were proposed, keeping 110-foot curb cut on that side, and insufficient backup and insufficient stall size was not a denial for the Center. I will double check though.
Right, but if we need it, we could grant 3 8s, that's 24.
Sure.
And then, as you said,
That doesn't need to be by the curb cut.
yeah, if the we just find out what we need to grant to make that happen if the board's so inclined. But can we have some discussion about this?
I thought we already hashed this out last time, but.
We did, but again, on further review, you know, I was talking to Dawn about it, and she had a good idea that, you know, we could actually allow an additional 2 spots.
Okay.
That would be in compliance with other departments, which again, we have no say over the other departments, but.
Yeah, so do we have the case number? So is everyone on board for doing so?
Do you guys remember that?
We just need the case number to make the motion. Maybe it's there.
You know what, hold on, can you guys wait like literally 3 seconds?
Sure, we can wait longer than that.
You know what, I have a draft decision on that one if you want.
Okay.
Folder was misplaced. Okay, it's probably true. No, it is.
Hold on, let me turn off my thing. So what we do after we do the reserve calendar and some sort of administrative, we also have requests for extension of time. Joe, correct me if I'm wrong. Once you get a zoning decision, you have 4 months, Joe?
Yes.
4 months to pick up your first permit, which is to start construction. You have then a year to complete construction, right? And, well, it'd be 4 months, huh?
To start start construction.
to start construction. And then you have 1 year to complete construction.
Yes.
So at each one of these junctures, it's often the case that people can't meet that requirement. They can't start in 4 months or whatever. They can't complete in a year, et cetera. So they need to come back and ask for extensions of time to be able to have more time to reach that benchmark. Joe, once you start running the 1 year clock of complete construction, once you start construction and your 1 year clock to complete starts, when do you need to request your extension of time?
Within the 16 months.
Okay,
After the-
so we get a number of extension of time requests, but they have to be made in a certain window. So sometimes we get them and we can't even grant them because they weren't made. They can't properly be before us. So usually Joe takes a look at those, which is what we're doing now, just to give you the framework.
So there was a case that was granted
Louder.
There was a case that was granted September 13th, 2023. It is within the time frame, and the reason
Wait, what did they fail to do? They want.
they weren't able to get their secure their permit. Right.
So they're asking for more time just to pick the permit up.
They had some issues with the buildings department, and it's within a time frame. So I would make a motion that we grant them a 9-month extension of time.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And when someone has a request to more time to complete construction, we usually ask that they provide photographs, because those requests mean that they're in the middle of construction. And we want to make sure that from time to time that happens. So, and the other one that's a little bit different is, from time to time, you request, when someone comes in and says, 10 years ago, you granted a subdivision, but then you haven't started yet because you don't have the money, whatever it is. In those cases, we use, and also in commercial matters, we have Coles in Oceanside. We granted them an extension 14 years ago. They still haven't done it, so they keep coming in for request for extension time. In cases that are older like that, we usually try to make sure that, because we granted them based on the characteristics in place at the time, et cetera. So if it's really old, let's say a subdivision, we usually try to look at, has the character been able to change it? Would we decide this case this way now? Or has the character so changed that it's not appropriate? Or in the Coles case, is the Coles business still the same? So are we finished with Patrick? Oh. Oh, I'm sorry. Board members, so I'm going to recall case 129 of 2024. The property is located at 2255 Center Avenue in Belmore. I'm recalling the case for the purposes of the board considering granting the previously denied fence, which had been granted by the board temporarily in the late 90s. Oh, I apologize. I'm thinking, I apologize. This is the matter relating to the parking, which we granted in part, denied in part, and the new information that the board on its own motion may wish to grant 3 parking spots along Center Avenue so as to provide some additional off-street parking in accordance with what everyone, the applicant and the neighborhood would like.
Did this go out?
So do I have any discussion? Do I have any discussion or a motion from the board to amend our prior decision to accommodate these spots?
Yes. I move that we amend our decision made on May 1st, 2024 to reflect the additional review and additional parking spots that can be available.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anything else, Patrick?
Yes, we have
No bananas.
a few requests for rehearings.
Patrick, I don't think they can hear you over there.
We've received a request from Ms. Pengallo regarding a reopening for case 1824, 361 Green Grove Avenue in Uniondale. This is the one that the board had denied the cellar entrance. They are willing to close the outside entrance and install an egress window that would, they would like to, however, keep the roof over the patio. The only issue, there was only one issue with the side yard. It was 4.9 rather than 5 feet, and the side yard aggregate was 10 feet 9 inches rather than 15.
Well, if they close the cellar entrance that we denied and install an egress window, do they need us? Can't they just,
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I kind of recall this one, I believe that their side yard encumbrance was as a result of a staircase that was leading down to the cellar entrance. And again, the applicant came to the office and spoke to her agent, and they're willing to get rid of the cellar entrance and just change it to an egress window.
Which does not need a variance.
That doesn't, but there's still the side yard encumbrance, because there's the stairs that go down. But the stairs that would now go down that encumber the side yard would not lead to a cellar entrance.
hold on, but don't the stairs, aren't the stairs below grade?
They go below grade. So they would go to the egress window.
So what would be above grade? Nothing except a hole.
But there's also the,
Hold on.
but that's the side yard encumbrance. So it would be very expensive for her to get rid of the stairs.
I understand, but I'm still not getting why something below grade needs side yard relief.
Well, because there's also the roof over. The roof over goes.
Okay.
And the side, you can see that the stairs ever so slightly.
So she wants to keep it just as it is, except call the door a window.
Yes, and make sure there's no cellar entrance. It would be an egress window.
Well, that's still a cellar entrance. How do we, I say get rid of the stairs.
Which we already did, so.
What's the encroachment?
It's, I believe it's, they maintain a
So it's only a
4.9
couple
foot
inches.
yard.
Wait, so if they filled in the first stair, they wouldn't need a variance?
Correct.
I mean, theoretically. I'm not suggesting they do that. I'm just saying that's how de minimis the request is.
Correct.
They put like doors on top of the stairs.
No, but I'm just saying, if this is the variance they need, and it would otherwise be as of right, it is a large expense for something that de minimis. And literally, if they filled in this much of a vertical thing, then the rest of the staircase is as of right. So I'm not sure how much it makes sense for us to not grant it, to be honest. It seems.
They want a rehearing?
Yes. Would you grant the application for a rehearing, or?
No.
I would be inclined to let them, actually, I would be less in favor of a rehearing and more in favor of just amending our decision, to be honest. If this could be done administratively. Let's wait for the chairman, and can you check if this can be done administratively without a rehearing? If we want to.
What is in the basement?
Yeah, I do. Pardon me?
Yeah, I do.
What is in the basement?
Can we pull the file on it too?
We'll get the plans.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. The next one we have is another rehearing request. It affects, it's case 39 of 24, affecting 5 Cook Street East in East Rockaway. If the board will recall, this was that lot in East Rockaway that was 20 by 100 that had, was seeking a very large lot area.
Kept adding on to the house.
Yes. So
They would like to resubmit a plot plan to indicate that the deck and shed would be removed, and that would bring the lot coverage down to 43.4%. The boiler and hot water heater are located in the 4.6 by 5.4 addition. So,
You know, the one concern that I have is this how people think it's gonna work? Come to us and ask for everything, you know, ask for the moon, and then when we say no, well, okay, now we'll go and pare it back. Like, you know what I'm saying? We can't hear every case twice, and, you know, I don't know how many times you get a second bite at the apple.
understood, at least in this case, I mean, it is a unique lot, that it is a 20 by 100, and they're seeking 43.4%, and it's to house the mechanicals.
Yeah, my issue isn't so much with the substantive request as much as it is the procedural bastardization of things. Let's hold that also for John so we can, you know, really, and might we be able to pull I presume they gave us a new site plan showing what they were going to remove?
Yes.
And can we, I'd like to remember, I'd like us to be able to look back at why we were against what parts, so that if this solves, and also, I don't know, again, I'm not in favor of too much of giving rehearings, but I'm not necessarily opposed to the relief, the substantive request. So I don't know, maybe we'll figure that. We should discuss that later.
Okay.
And with the chairman here, I'd like to know what his input on that is. Do you guys agree with?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Patrick.
We had one more rehearing request. Paul Peroni, his father and him came before the board back in 2019. There was a subdivision at 329 Evans Avenue. The house that was remaining on the lot was sold, and they dealt with that. They never started construction on the second lot. The father passed away, and between that and COVID, they kind of got away from them. They were looking for reopening strictly on, because they were told, correct, they were looking for an extension of time, but they have gone over the time. So they're looking for a reopening.
I'm not opposed to
Rehearing.
Rehearing.
For something that was granted, just because they missed the time, the extension of time. I'm not against it. Does anyone want to, is there discussion from the board? Does someone, if no one's,
Rehearing is appropriate.
Okay.
okay, so do I have a motion for
I
rehearing?
move that we grant the applicant.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, just because it has to be unanimous, so that's why I took a vote.
That is all I have.
Okay.
All right, do we want to close?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have a motion to close the hearing?
I move that we adjourn to 2 p.m.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let me call.
Yeah, see what he's doing.
I am. And
There's
I realize
Albert.
I have Apple Pay.